Welcome back to the podcast, guys. Today, I have a very special guest on the Everyday Athlete podcast, Darryl Baldwin. Darryl is a fellow former Ohio State football player and 2014 national champion. So we played together back in 2014 for Ohio State. He's also a former NFL offensive lineman who played for the Cowboys, Bengals, and Ravens, and is now a proud father to his son, Noah, and is now one of my current in-person clients and friends. So, Darryl, welcome to the show, bro.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I've just been following you for a while, your journey here and your gym and now your podcast. I've been listening to some episodes and just seeing what you're doing, and I'm glad to be a part of it. Glad to be one of your clients now.
Yeah, absolutely, Darryl. And bro, I'm so glad that we were able to connect like in the conversations that we've had. And I know you and I have had a lot of these conversations one-on-one inside of our sessions, inside of our training sessions. And I just feel like you have such a great mindset when it comes to training, when it comes to just longevity and aging. We see it with a lot of the guys that we played with where it's really easy to reach a level of burnout with your training. It's easy to, feel beat down and feel, discouraged to continuing that journey. But, as we kind of reconnected and we talked a bunch, I really found that you had just such a great mindset and focus on longevity and focus on, hey, like, this isn't the end of the road. I have so much life ahead of me. If with the right tools, with the right approach, I can keep progressing in these fields for the long haul. So, dude, I just love your mindset. You being a former athlete, we speak the same language in a lot of ways. And I think it'd be really fun, before we dive into this, to really just take things back to your origin, get to know a little bit more about your background, where you're from, what led you here to Ohio State and deciding to play football here at this amazing university. I mean, we were just talking before the podcast. It's a huge reason why, I fell in love with Columbus and why I'm still here is love the city, fell in love with it from playing football at Ohio State. So yeah, man, I would love to kind of pull the curtains back and go back to the origin of, what first originally brought you to Columbus, Ohio, and ultimately Ohio State. I'm sure you were getting recruited by a decent amount of schools during that time in high school.
Yeah, for sure. So I started out up in Cleveland, grew up in Cleveland, started in the, started in the inner city, and then in third grade, moved to Solon, Ohio, which is, just on the east side suburb. And that's kind of like when I found sports, really.
Yeah.
Before that, never played anything. And then when I moved to Solon, got into basketball. My brother and I, we weren't allowed to play football because, we were bigger than everyone else.
Yeah.
It definitely made sense because when we did start, some people got hurt. But,
yes.
That's just how life
I know.
goes
People can't
sometimes.
tell with you sitting down, but you're like 6'6", right?
Yeah.
280 pound guy,
Yeah.
absolute beast. How big were you back then?
It's hard to tell, but you know, I've always been a little bigger than everybody else.
Yeah.
Definitely weighed more than everybody else. And, when you're throwing your body around with small children, it can get dangerous fast.
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. I remember the first time I actually got to play, it was in practice. I was just, playing and tackled a guy and actually broke his hip.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So probably messed up his football career, but I didn't know much.
No. Yeah. You're just doing your thing, man.
Right. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. And actually at first I had gravitated towards basketball. That was the first thing I was allowed to play. And I thought that was where my future was going to be. And then eventually getting into like middle school, high school, started playing football, actually got the chance to play and then found out I loved it too. So I played both into high school, did some track. I threw shot and disc, kind of just, to keep busy, stay in shape,
For sure.
that kind of thing. And then I started getting recruited for football. And that's when I realized, okay, I might be able to make a career out of this. And it was interesting because, I feel like a lot of people have those dream schools in mind, where they want to go, where they want to play. But for me, I didn't really have that. I just, started blooming out of nowhere, really. And I think it was around my sophomore year, I started getting offers. And that's when I was like, okay, well, I need to figure this part out. So started visiting places and came to Ohio State on an official visit. And it just felt, so good. Every person I met was really cool. Coach Tressel was the one that recruited me. He was a great guy.
Great guy, man. I got to meet him at one of Roy's conferences recently in the last couple of years. And that was my first time ever meeting him, dude. And I think I talked about this on one of the podcasts or another, but dude, I learned so much from being around him because he was a guy where Like he was the speaker at Roy's event, and there were so many former players. There was obviously a lot of fans there. And dude, I watched him that whole day, an event where he was just like present with every single person he was speaking to. And I know even for me, dude, like sometimes when I'm super busy and I'm got all these different things going on, or I'm even at an event or like in the gym, like trying to, scatter my focus across different people and help different people. Like you can kind of just get like unfocused and off your game a little bit. And it was very inspiring for me to see him in that environment, just be so present with every single person. And I remember I took a lot from that where I'm like, it doesn't matter really how busy I am, how busy I get, how much stuff I have going on. You always can kind of be present with whoever you're with at that time. And it was really profound for me to experience. And it's something that I think about to this day, man. And I try to implement into my day-to-day. I'm not perfect. Like there's still days that get me. And when the chaos is up, it's hard, but it has made me more mindful spending that time with him and getting to meet him that, hey, we all have that ability to slow down, be present with each one of these individual conversations and people that we have the opportunity to impact, So dude, it was just really powerful. And I can't even imagine, how amazing of a coach he was with that in mind.
Yes, exactly. And the thing about him was it was all so genuine.
Yes.
Like each interaction you had with him, he was always, the same.
Mm-hmm.
He cared about your family. It didn't matter if you were a starter for him or never going to see the field. He knew who you were, who your family was. He would ask you about your family. And it was just...
And that's different, bro.
Yeah. Like
you don't see that.
Absolutely not. Yeah. So he really opened my eyes to like, wow, there are some really good people out here. And it's good to surround yourself with these kind of people.
Yes.
So that was definitely one of the reasons why I chose Ohio State, because the culture, the people, and, it was also, close to home. So easy for the family to get here to see me and those kind of things.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man. No, and it's funny that you say that. And this is what's so cool about these conversations, because I feel like we find things maybe that we didn't even know about one another as we have these conversations. But dude, I was very similar with my kind of collegiate experience with recruiting and with football. Like I didn't grow up in like a heavy sport culture family. So I didn't really have that kind of preconceived, hey, you're going to play this sport or you're going to play that sport. Like when you age, my parents were very hands off. They were supportive, but very hands off with those decisions where they would just kind of let me figure out what sports I wanted to play. It's ironic, man. They actually, out of all sports, were like against football because of the contact and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But I was like so determined to play whenever I got older. I just wanted to so bad because even in other sports, I was so physical and they were just, it just made sense for me. But they were very supportive. They eventually did allow me to play. But similar to you, man, like I didn't have like that school, or I think it would have been, I just think about some of these guys, man, where like they know from the beginning, like when they're kids, they're like, I want to play at Ohio State or I want to play football like in the NFL. And it's like, dude, that is incredible. And I feel like all of us have a little bit of that, of like, hey, I want to be a pro, or you have big vision for what you want to accomplish. But yeah, man, I was very kind of just present in the moment with my high school and collegiate career, and then kind of similar where like recruiting started to take off a little bit. You start communicating with these different schools. And I think the way you described your experience with Ohio State was very similar to me. It's ironic that I was visiting for lacrosse, because I think I've told you about that kind of my journey too, of like going from lacrosse to football and then getting a scholarship on the football team. So it's funny, dude, how lacrosse really brought me to Ohio State, but I'll never forget on that visit. I felt the same thing. It was just tangible, bro. Like you come here and it's like the city really is seriously bought in to this university, and the school is a big ass school, but it's so compartmentalized and like tight knit where, I mean, I even walked my wife on campus the other day, and you can get from one side to the other in like a 10 to 15 minute walk. It's wild. So most other big schools I had been to, it was like super spread out. You're like going from this side of campus, like driving to this side of campus. So there was just so many aspects of it, man, that truly I fell in love with as well. And that's really what led me here as well. And me being originally from St. Louis, Missouri, and you were nearby in Cleveland, but the city's just great here, and it's constantly growing. It's constantly booming. So yeah, dude, I would love to kind of dive into, each of us kind of have our own unique experience with Ohio State football. I feel like, if you asked you versus asking another guy we played with, there'd be a lot of parallels, there'd be a lot of similarities, but then there's also going to be your own individual experience. And I think that that's something that I really wanted to isolate, is kind of from your perspective, what was that Ohio State football experience like?
Yeah. So I feel like I got a good spectrum, of Ohio State career. I saw some really great highs, and also I was a part of some really low lows. And yeah, so okay, I'll just start from the
I know
from the
that's
top.
a hard question,
Yeah,
bro. You could talk about so many things.
Right. There's a lot of different directions you can go with it. So came in as a defensive lineman
Okay.
under Coach Tressel. Coach Haycock was my position coach at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I feel like another funny thing about recruiting and being brought in, like as soon as the recruitment ends and the coaching begins, you can tell. It's such
a
fine
hard
line.
shift, dude.
Yeah, it's like, oh wait, did
I still don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, did I actually like meet the same person, or what? Did I meet two different people?
Yes, dude.
It's
yes.
crazy. But yeah, so started out on defensive line, got really close to some of those guys. Like I had Cameron Hayward in front of me.
Oh, nice.
John Steinman. Like just some great like role model, big name people. And I got to learn a lot from them. I ended up redshirting my freshman year when I first got here, which at first I was a little upset about it, but then, you know, I
kind of see the bigger picture, where you're going. Yeah,
I got more time to grow, develop, and get ready, and also kind of enjoy college a little bit more as more of a student than an athlete. So, yeah, that was a good first year I had, just learning and growing and continue to grow into my body. I remember when I first got here, I put on like 20 pounds of muscle just being in the weight room all the time, all summer. And kind of just growing in my body. It was a different experience for that as well. Like you got to learn how to move different with more weight. And
especially when you gain it fast like that, it's kind of hard.
It was quick, man. And that was a good thing. It was like a lot of good weight I was putting on just from the working outside. So, and then going into my second year, I started playing a little bit, got in some games, not all of them. And I think that's when you can kind of start thinking a lot about your journey when you don't have that instant success.
Yes.
And I feel like I went through a lot of the imposter syndrome, some of the mental health things, a little, you know, depression, because you go from high school being like
superstar.
Yes, the top at every sport you play, basically.
Yes.
To this person who is competing for a spot and also not always, you know, getting there and just wondering, what am I doing wrong? You know, all these thoughts come in.
100%, dude.
And also, I feel like it's an aspect that we don't talk about much.
No.
You know, is that other side of when we are down. Because as men, we learn so much from a young age.
Yeah,
like,
just suppress.
Yeah, keep going. Like, don't talk about it. Just, you know, train harder.
Yep.
And it's really opened my eyes to how that whole experience was.
Yeah.
And how I want to be different. You know, it was a learning experience for me.
Absolutely.
And it was great. So moving past my second year, okay. Also got to backtrack a little bit.
Yeah.
So first year was Coach Tressel. Second year,
is that
he
Urban?
had to step down, and it was the Luke Fickle year.
Okay.
So first year under Coach Tressel, we went 12-1, I believe, and won the Sugar Bowl.
Nice.
Against Arizona. No, sorry, Arkansas.
Yep.
And then the second year under Fickle, we had a lot of changes going on, lost some good people because of, you know, things that happened, tattoos, whatever.
Yeah.
That whole thing.
That whole thing.
And yeah, it was just a rough year, you know. Like I think we ended up going 6-7, lost in the Gator Bowl to Florida that year. And that's not the Ohio State standard.
Right.
By any means of the word. Like every single year before that, we're playing in big bowl games.
Yeah.
Possibly competing for national championships. Like that is the standard. So being there for one of the lowest seasons is also, you know, it doesn't feel good.
No.
So
sucks, but also good perspective.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Yeah.
And it tastes sweeter when you guys did do well and came out of that. You know?
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like you learn so much more from the losses.
100%, dude.
As opposed to the wins. Because, you know, when you're winning, everything's good. You don't really have to reflect. You don't have to look at yourself as much. And then as soon as the losses happen, you're like, okay, we need to change this. We need to get some things in motion.
Yep.
So after that year was when Coach Meyer got here.
Okay.
And he brought in his staff. They kind of...
That would have been your junior year.
Yes. Redshirt sophomore year.
Redshirt sophomore, yeah.
Yeah. So they came in, they were, you know, trying to get rid of some people that they didn't think belonged in the program. And there were some people that left, and I ended up moving to the offensive line because we needed some depth there after, some departures. And that was a crazy experience because it was my first time playing O-line. Like in high school, I was a tight end. So,
some translation.
Some of it, yeah, but never like truly offensive line.
Which, especially at the collegiate level, you're making that transition. I mean, dude, that's huge.
Yes. And also, there's more of that imposter syndrome. Like, can I actually do this? Like, something I've never done before. Stepping in at the highest level currently for me. Like, is this going to be able to be done?
Yeah.
So that's when I had to lean on my teammates. And that's the great thing about football is we have teammates that are going through all of this with us.
Yes.
And especially on the offensive line, like we are a unit. Like, you have to do everything together.
100%. And even like more so than other positions where like, you guys are like having to work in sync. You know what I mean?
Like
fully.
As a D lineman, if you don't like get a sack one play, it's not the end of the world.
Right.
You have other people behind you that'll take care of you. But as an offensive line, if one of you messes up, that's a hit on the quarterback. That's a hit on the running back. Like,
such an impressive position, bro.
Yeah.
Like, it's one that I truly, even as like a linebacker by trade and like special team guy and more defensive guy, that is one position, because we talk about it all the time with Brady, like Brady Taylor, my client. And dude, that position, I respect that position more than like, I think it's like one of the hardest positions in football easily, because you really you can't make mistakes either. Like other people, you can have like a bad play here and there. You can miss a tackle. And then, if you have 12 tackles for the game, like you're good, but you guys get one sack or miss one block. And it's like, that could be like a game altering play, bro. So it's like, there's just a lot of pressure on you guys. It's hard.
Yeah. Could lead to somebody getting hurt.
Yeah. And then they're talking about you guys, and it's like, well, was it really their fault? I mean, who's to say? You know what I mean? But it's like the blame goes to you guys, and then it's like, it's wild, man.
Right. Yeah. And that's the interesting thing, too. Like, you can play a perfect game.
Yeah.
And then give up one block, have a sack, something like that. It's your fault. Like, you are the reason we lost the game. So there's definitely a lot of pressure, and it depends on like who you are, but not always as much glory, right? Like,
that's what I was going to say.
We aren't the ones catching touchdowns. We aren't the ones scoring. Like, name and
you're
paper.
enabling all of that.
Yeah, all of that. Yeah. And for me, it was good enough. Like, I don't need to be in the spotlight. I've never been like that. Like, I want to give everyone else like glory, and I'll just, do my thing, keep going. And that's just kind of how I've always been, more quiet, reserved guy. And so I felt like I fit right in to that mold. So, first 2 years was over there, got to play a little bit. A lot of special teams play, which is very humbling, like being on the field goal team. Yeah,
especially field goal.
Man.
It's like one quick play.
Yep.
You're like kind of blocking for a second, but it's like done.
Yep. And I always had two people trying to run me over. So it was a lot. Yeah. And then going into my fifth year, my redshirt senior year, got to start that whole year. And played on an incredible team. As you know, like we went on to win the national championship. We had a lot of turmoil that year, starting with
Braxton
Braxton was our quarterback, went down in training camp. JT had to step in, big loss to Virginia Tech. And, everyone thought the season was over at that point, like 2 games in. But then, we were able to rebound and really get around each other and learn from what we were doing and just kind of play free,
Yeah.
When you get that loss early on, it's like, okay, well.
Got nothing to lose.
Yeah, let's just go out there and prove people wrong. And I feel like that was cool about Cardale when he was able to come in and just,
dude, nuts.
Absolutely, go off, do his thing, do what he's always, known how to do.
Yes,
he just needed that opportunity, and he showed it in that little stretch he had. So, got to end as a national champion, and it was insane, such an insane run there. But
dude,
so I feel like across the whole 5 years I was there, I got to see some truly amazing things, like the pinnacle of what you can reach, and also get down pretty low. And so, I'm very grateful for that experience and just everything I learned, like I learned so much about myself at that time.
Dude, Well, that's not the whole time you're explaining this, man. Like all I'm thinking about is how incredible, obviously, the journey was, but also those like little nuanced things that, the everyday person maybe didn't see. And I feel like something I would be curious to ask you is during that time where, you were getting some play time sophomore year, trying to get into that, junior year starting, was there any moment or like period of time where you were maybe not going to be the starter and it was like a mental battle? I just remember, dude, like those days playing there, I would start gaining some success or some notoriety, especially as like a walk-on, like where like nobody knew me, no one really respected you, no one wanted you to play, no coaches wanted you to play. And I'm just like grinding my face off for years to just like get on the field and earn a scholarship. And that was just like an uphill battle, just an absolute mountain to climb. And I remember there was at multiple points where I'd get really close and be like, second string behind one of our starters on defense on special teams. So I'm like right there. They're like showing me that they respect me, but like I'm just not fully there. And so there was a lot of that, bro, behind the scenes of, kind of battling my way onto the field, because you kind of in your head, you're like, I know I can be this starter, but sometimes that depth chart can be a game, bro. I mean, you see it when you walk into your offensive lineman room. When I walk into the linebacker room, you see the names of everybody and it's like, you see where you're at. You know what I mean? So was there ever like a period where you were really like having to overcome that? Or was it kind of like a battle for you to earn that starting spot? Or did it kind of just naturally, as you climbed up the ranks, you kind of like fit that mold?
Yeah, I feel like there was definitely a time where you kind of have to wait it out a little bit naturally, right? Like you're coming into a program with the best talent basically in the nation, and you're competing and like making sure you remind yourself, like, I'm here for a reason. I'm meant to be here. Like, they saw something in me that I deserve to be here.
Yes.
And that was one thing I also battled with. I was like thinking, okay, I'm not playing. Should I be here? Like,
yeah, bro.
Is this like actually in my cards? Yeah, because it's tough. But that's just kind of the way the game goes.
Yeah.
I think the really hard part, though, is when you aren't playing, you're still constantly getting your butt kicked. Like,
yes.
Practice, workouts.
You're still doing everything.
You are grinding,
bro,
for no notoriety at some points, right? Like, you might go a whole year and have a coach not even say your name.
Yep.
And it's
lived it.
Yeah, right. And I'm sure as a walk-on,
oh my God,
you saw it so much. Like,
yes.
Yeah, the walk-ons end up doing a lot of scout team work, and sometimes they'll get noticed with like being the scout team play of the week, things like that.
Right.
But yeah, if you're not starting in so many facets, it's like you are really just there getting your butt kicked, and you got to kind of just take it. So.
And that's where we learn a lot about life.
Right.
In those moments.
Yes, for sure. So I definitely had some moments. Like I said, getting there, being behind Johnny Simon at first, like some of the greats, and then moving over to the offensive line, I was behind Jack Mewhort. And,
dude,
Andrew Norwell, like some great names that went on to have great
Long
careers.
NFL careers.
Yeah. So it's just like, these guys waited their time. They're taking advantage of it. So you either get upset about that and go transfer somewhere, possibly try to make a name earlier in your career, or you just keep getting better. You keep working on your craft. And then when your time comes, you take advantage.
Yes.
So that's what it ended up happening to me. I stayed around. I kept working. And then by my 5th year, I was starting every game and, able to show what I could do.
That's unreal, man. And I love that you mentioned the national championship, because I was literally going to ask you what your kind of like your favorite memory was during that time. What would you say that is? Would you say it's the national championship?
Yeah. That's a hard one to beat. You know, like
it's cool that we were there together. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, even though you were starter, I was like literally just joining the team as like a literal nobody walk on. I'll never forget, bro, at the national championship, you guys like had your locker room. And it does make it sweet, bro, that I was able to like obviously see my goals to fruition, get on the field and like get a scholarship. Like I did it. It's something I can take with me forever. But dude, in those early years, I mean, even at the Natty, like they would put us in like a closet. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Like the walk-ons, like, and I wasn't even like dressing. I like was wearing like a jersey at the time. I wasn't even like literally dressing, and they would just literally throw us in like a little closet. And like those were where all like the walk-on practice squad guys were. And then all the guys that were actually playing were like, I guess were more higher up on the team. We're like in the locker room. But yeah, bro, it's really cool that we We share that experience because it was still nonetheless, even though me being in that kind of stage, it was still an unbelievable, bro. I mean, like, regardless of any of that, I still was having the time of my life. And it really set the tone for my motivation, even more so to like get on the field. Like I always knew I wanted to regardless, but it was like experiencing that natty in my first year, dude, as a walk-on. I'm like, I need to play for this team, dude. I'm I can't just be a guy that got a ring. Like I have to play for this team. You know what I mean? But yeah, unbelievable time.
Yeah. And it's really hard to pick one moment from that because of the lead up, right? Like,
yes,
we always had battles with the team up north. Like,
yep.
And, you know, at that point, they beat us in the Fickle year. And after that, we started winning.
Mm-hmm.
But just going through everything we went through, like, again, in that game, that's when we lost JT. Like,
yes.
So at that point, it's like, where do we go from here? Like, it feels like we have to start over.
Yep.
Like, can we make it? And we still have that early loss that is looming over us. And at that time, that was the first year of the 4-team playoff.
Yeah.
So it was
the inaugural year.
So how lucky were we to have that change when we're able to sneak in there after, you know, a very like ass beating of a game against Wisconsin where we put up a bunch of points and we showed them what was up. Like we ended up getting our chance.
Dude, it's wild.
Yeah. And it's just like
the finest of lines.
Yeah. Every single thing leading up to that is just, it's more than just that national championship game, you know, like
almost the process.
Yeah. We can't get there without beating Wisconsin, without beating Alabama, which that one,
dude, that was just like, that was probably one of my favorite games. Like, cause even me being from St. Louis, Missouri, I grew up kind of around Mizzou and the SEC schools. And I just remember every time Alabama and Mizzou would play, like they would just get their asses beat. And like, it was just always like a big rivalry for them. And Alabama was just always that like elite top tier school. And so again, even though that year I wasn't even playing, but just being a part of that, man, and seeing that, I don't know about you, and you could probably speak to it even better as a starter that year, but when we beat Alabama, I feel like it didn't matter who we played in that natty. Like we were literally of the mind. And dude, it's cool. Like a lot of these things are hitting like the theme of the entire episode, but like we had so much just momentum and like also camaraderie, like what you were talking about earlier, where like everybody really had to band together to get out of that slump and end up having success. So I think that's just what made it so much better. But I feel like we could have played anybody in that national championship game after beating Alabama. And we're like, we're going to win. Like, it doesn't matter. Like throw anyone at us. We just beat like this best team, like the best team in the country. Clearly we can beat anybody at this point. You know what I mean? Is that kind of like how you guys felt or how you felt too that year?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because you know, Alabama, they're such a powerhouse. Like,
such a powerhouse.
And then we were down in the South, so, you know, predominantly Alabama down there.
Yep.
And so many people telling us we didn't have a chance. It was a 1 versus 4. So we were thinking.
Everybody thought we were out.
Yeah, right. Like, what chance do we have in everyone's mind? But, you know, it was just those guys in the locker room, like us there together. We were like, we can do this. Like, we just got to take care of our business. We got to do what we've been doing consistently over the course of the year after that early mess up we had with Virginia Tech. We just got to stick true to ourselves and do it. But yeah, to your point, it was like as soon as we won that, we're like, okay, yeah, we can take on anybody. We're not going to overlook, this is the national championship. We're not going to overlook it.
No.
But beating Alabama, that just gives you so much confidence and the swagger that you're like, we can take on whoever you want to throw in front of us now.
Yeah, bro. What an unbelievable, dude. That year is just insane. And I'm sure like we could probably sit here and reflect on so many memories, but that had to have been just unreal, man. Like being a starter too. I think like that's one thing that I think changes the game is, you know, for a game like that, for a season like that, it just had to have been unbelievable being like a true like starter. You're one of the guys, you know, on the offensive line. And so that had to have been unreal for you, bro. But I guess how from that standpoint, you know, how did your transition look going from college to the NFL? You know, talk maybe through what what the draft process looked like, you know, were you talking to schools, you know, preparing for like pro day and the combine and things like that? Like I would love to kind of hear about that transition from your collegiate experience at Ohio State and then into the NFL and what that looked like.
Yeah. So getting in past college, like after national championship ends, is when, you know, life kind of slows down for a second, but then picks up instantly because then you do have to get ready for combine, pro day, all of these things. I had to find an agent. I didn't even, think much about that before that moment. So,
Well, did you know, like from an early age, that you would try to pursue the NFL, or was that something that kind of came about throughout college?
it was also something that came about just throughout college. Also, again, not really one of the dreams I had growing up, but I think having that first bit of early initial success, it's on your mind.
Absolutely.
And then being able to start a full year at Ohio State, win a national championship on that team, it's like, okay, well,
that puts you like, you can do it.
Yeah, we got to give this a shot.
Yeah.
And also, that switch we talked about, like moving from defensive line to offensive line, never doing that before that moment, it just, showed me I can be adaptable. I can keep getting better at this and do just, I just got to do the best I can.
Yeah.
And try to wait my time again, get my shot, and then see where it goes.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was just getting ready for pro day. I didn't end up getting invited to the combine. They only invite so many linemen, didn't make it, which was fine.
Yeah.
Still had pro day. I had a great day. I think I put up like 30 reps on bench. I ran a 40. Like I had pretty good numbers. Yeah, it was good. And then team-wise, I was able to visit with some teams. Like the Panthers were showing some interest, and also the Ravens. I got to talk to both of those teams. They both brought me in for a workout and got to see their facilities and everything. So that was awesome too, being able to just go and see them and kind of see how they operate, kind of like a visit to a college
for sure
in many ways. And then draft day comes around. Didn't end up getting drafted, but I was still getting some calls about like going undrafted to places. And then ended up settling on Baltimore. They weren't giving me the highest like offer, but the situation there looked the best.
Looked good,
and I really,
'cause that's what you're weighing, like behind the scenes as a free agent. You're like, where can I? Because you guys kind of have that more of the option. I remember experiencing it with Justin a little bit, where like you guys kind of have the option of which team you kind of pursue based on who shows you interest. So it's kind of like evaluating like who has the best, or what team has the biggest opportunity for me to develop as an offensive lineman, like in this organization, Yeah,
exactly. The power goes back to your hands at that point. If you get drafted, that's who you're going to. But for us, it's you get to kind of weigh your options, see what would be the best fit. And that was another thing for me. I had some good, really meetings with that offensive line coach. His name was Juan Castillo. He's a great guy. I just loved being around him, anytime I got to talk to him, it was great. And it was also interesting too, because during the workouts that they put you through, you get to see that coach in them come out.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like recruiting in college where it's like you see this one person and then
experience another.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was like you get to see both.
Yes.
And,
which is good.
Yeah. So I was like, this guy seems great. And got to just look at the situation they had, and also a good winning team in the AFC, not too far.
Absolutely.
So just landed on going there at first, and that was great too. Got in there with the rest of the rookies. They put you up in a hotel, so I had a roommate for the first couple months, and just kind of got to start fresh, really, in a lot of ways, learning a new system and moving up to the next level, the absolute highest level, which, more imposter syndrome. Should I be?
I was going to ask you, like, what do you feel like? And I should have even asked this about your Ohio State experience, because I remember it being stressful, dude. But what was that stress like during that moment where you're really trying to make the team and you're going through that transition? Like, it had to have been a lot. You know what I mean? Was that stressful for you?
Yeah. So it starts off like rookie mini camp. It's just the rookies. It's kind of like just getting eased into it, right? And then when everyone comes there for training camp, you can start going against some of the best players on the team. I remember during training camp, I was lined up against Terrell Suggs at the time.
My God.
And I was just looking out like, okay, like
I got this.
This will be something. And he, like, as soon as the snap was off, he was off. And I was like, oh my gosh, like just the speed from high school to college is a jump. And then college to the NFL, oh my gosh, it's like
Bro, I
4
can't
or 5
imagine.
times even faster.
That's what all like my buddies have said that I know who are still playing, like, and have played, that like just the speed, dude.
Yeah.
Like it's just so fast. Everything's happening so fast.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And you have to adapt. Like that is the one thing about being at that level. You have to get with it or you're not going to make it.
Exactly.
So that was what I tried to focus on. I tried to focus on what I could control, which is knowing the playbook, knowing what I was supposed to be doing, and trying to just put myself in the best situation to get there. But also at the back of your mind, it's like, at this point, they can let you go really anytime they want. And that's like the occupation you signed up for. Like if you're not producing for something, if you do give up a block, get someone hurt, like it's very easy to let go.
Like the margin of error goes even lower.
It's tiny. Yeah. So, the stress is always there. You're always thinking about it in the back of your mind, but at the same time, you just have to enjoy it. And
that's it, dude.
Looking back on it now, I'm just so thankful, for the chance I got to go somewhere undrafted.
Yes.
So many people in the world have those dreams of being in the NFL and they end up making it to college, but they don't even get, a chance at the highest level. I'm a kid from inner city Cleveland. Like I didn't really have these dreams, but I kind of stumbled into it. So I was just so, gracious for that one opportunity, that one shot I got. And getting into my time at Baltimore, during training camp, things were going pretty well. We had our first preseason game, and I started having some like flu-like symptoms after the game. So I just started taking some Advil, and they were giving me these just things to help me feel better.
Yeah.
And a couple days later, I started having some liver problems.
Oh, no.
It got really bad. Like I don't think I ate for a whole week, and I probably lost like 30 pounds in a week. So I was, at first I was like, am I going to be okay? Like, am I going to make it past this? And had all these tests ran, went to the doctor a bunch, and they're saying, there's nothing we can do right now. The liver needs to heal.
Yeah.
And after like a week, it did start to heal. I started eating a little bit more, getting back into it. And as soon as I got better, they're like, okay, well, we're going to cut you. We're letting you go. So,
and it's literally just, again, like outside of your control, circumstance. It's a business, and they're just like, on to the next.
Right. Yes. And it was that quick. I got to see firsthand like how much of a business it is.
Yeah.
And I did have one regret with that. I was upset with myself and other people.
For sure.
I remember my position coach, he was calling me. He wanted to see me. He wanted to talk to me. Because he was like, he didn't know. They didn't tell him that they let me go.
I've heard about that too.
But
crazy.
I was like, in my own head, I was like, this organization, they're just going to let me go like this. All right, screw them. I'm out of here. And, I didn't get to talk to him again. I think I called him later. But just, that man, he opened up his home for me. Like I met his family.
Yeah.
He treated us so well. And in that moment, I was weak and I was hurt. And I took it personally when it wasn't his fault.
Correct.
It wasn't anyone's fault, really.
That's a hard lesson.
The business,
I deal with that myself, like taking things personally. And like when things happen, it's like internalizing it. And especially something like that where it's so close, where it's like organization decides one thing, coach within organization like really loves you and like wants you. And then that like kind of like conflicts. So it's just, bro, it's hard. So I mean, it's very understandable as to why you'd feel that way. You know what I mean? Like very understandable, especially in a moment like that.
Yeah. So, that's, I want to say it's my only regret. But I think that was like my first real bit of rejection, especially at the NFL level.
Yeah.
I mean, getting drafted, that just would have been amazing, but I didn't feel rejection in that moment. But being cut for the first time, that's when I was like, okay, I got to deal with this.
Yeah.
And I went on and had a couple tryouts. I think I had a tryout with Tampa Bay that year when I was able to get healthier, get my weight back, and get back into it. Had a tryout with them. Didn't work out. So I didn't end up on a team that year, so I took that time to go back to school and get my master's in sport
nice.
management. Yeah,
Nice.
so turned a negative into a positive. I'm not on a team, but still going to progress my life.
Yeah.
Move on, and was able to do that. Still kept training. Still kept my hopes up that I'd have a chance. And in that next off season, the following year is when I got the call from Cincinnati. Went there for a tryout and got on their team.
Nice.
So, that was cool. I got to meet some really cool people there. Like they had some great linemen there as well.
Yeah.
And that situation, it just didn't quite work out for me. I was there for like 2 months, but that's the other thing about the NFL. Every team, every organization is so different.
Dude, I think from my conversations that I've had with you, my buddy Jake, who was like on and off the Giants for a long time. Dude, imagine this. He got picked up and cut. I forget the exact number, but he got picked up and cut, I think, like 6 times by the same team in 1 year, where like in one season alone, where it would be like, hey, this week you're fired. Hey, this week we need you. Hey, this week you're fired. I'm like, bro, it's just insane. Like, how can anybody operate like that? But one thing that I have learned from those guys and talking with Justin and seeing some of these other guys, bro, you're like stepping into this machine that you have to almost like fit perfectly for like what they need, what they want, what they can spend. And it's almost like finding that perfect lock and key where like you could be an elite player and you could honestly be someone that they literally need, but say like they can't afford you, or say like they have a situation you know what I mean? It's just like all these behind the scenes kind of situations, and every organization has like how they're operating. And it's like you almost have to fit like perfectly like within that mold. I mean, is that kind of what you experience? And do you feel like it's almost like a degree of luck? You know what I mean? In a weird way. And I don't want to like blame it on luck, but it's like, dude, I've seen it, dude. Like we've seen it. Like there's guys that in my circle that, maybe didn't have the best collegiate career, and then they like ball out in the NFL, bro. Or vice versa, where like somebody could have been like one of the best collegiate football players I've ever seen, and then they kind of like fizzle out in the NFL for, I believe, like this reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. Like there were some people I knew, like Jonathan Hankins. He was one of my roommates in college, and he was I think he was with the Colts at the time.
Okay.
And he had a great situation, just got a pretty nice contract and paid and loved everything. And then they had a new position coach come in, a new defensive coordinator come in, and it changed the scheme. So it kind of, changed the skill set. Like if you're going from a 4-down lineman scheme to a 3-down, then that's one person getting cut immediately, from that. And then also the one guy in the middle has to adjust, right? So I think it is a good degree of luck of just being in the right place at the right time.
Exactly.
Because to your other point, like your buddy getting picked up and dropped like consistently so much with one team over the course of the season, like it just, talks about how needs change every single week in the NFL.
Literally.
And the NFL is
it's almost like a week by week game. Bro.
Yeah. And it's such a win now mentality. Like,
yes.
You are going to lose some games. Like the NFL, I feel like is so much different than college in that aspect, is you have to get used to losing a little bit more. But like you can't lose that many. And if you do lose too many, people get fired.
People are getting fired.
Yeah.
And then it's just changing again. So, dude, it's like this moving target.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like trying to like hit that target at the same time. Like, bro, wild. And I never really thought about it from that perspective. But what you said there is very eye-opening, where they really are thinking like so in the moment and making decisions in the moment, where it's like, can you help us win right now? If you can't, see ya. We'll find somebody else that can. And same kind of mentality with the coaching. So it just creates this like, I don't know, man. It's just this very interesting dynamic in the NFL,
Yeah, a business unlike any other I've seen, honestly.
And it really is, I guess, like when you boil it down, it really is like a business. Like we need to have success. We need X amount of wins. We need X amount of data to show we're winning. And it's like in statistics, and it's like if we're not hitting those numbers, like it's cutthroat, you know? Wild, man. I mean, it's always cool for me to kind of hear that perspective, because I very much so wanted to make the NFL. Like after my especially after like my senior year, and I was having like a ton of tackles and stuff on special teams. Everybody was like, this guy's the next Nate Ebner, like blah, blah, blah. And like, even the media was like hyping that up. So I kind of like, I was like, damn, I think I'm going to do this. And then I hit that reality quick where it was like, nobody wanted me. You know what I mean? Even though I was like this really good special teams ace making like a lot of solo tackles, which like does not happen on special teams.
Right.
It still wasn't enough. You know what I mean? So that's something that I know like I had to work through that a little bit as I transitioned out. And it was hard for me at first, bro. I think like, you know, when you hit that high level, because I didn't even think, I mean, dude, just how my trajectory was going, I was like, I didn't know that could ever happen. But once I made that decision where I knew I wanted to, like my heart was with football. I just knew I wanted to like, I really wanted to play for a university. I wanted to get on that field and I wanted to produce. And, you know, when I did that at Ohio State, I mean, it was like my dream, like to get on that team, to play, to earn a scholarship. It was kind of like the peak of my vision of where I kind of like saw that goal going. So I think for me, when I did decide like, hey, like, well, that can spread a little bit further and maybe make it to the NFL. But then when that didn't happen, it's like, holy shit. And then like life hits you fast. And I know for me, kind of hitting that highest of the high in my trajectory and in my life, playing for Ohio State, once that, you know, left, it was hard, dude. Like, and I didn't even realize it at first. I feel like I was definitely more unself-aware during those earlier years. I was younger. I was just kind of dumb. And I was like masking the emotions, kind of like, well, what did we say earlier? You know, what are we taught from a young age, bro? It's like mask, mask, mask. Who cares about mental health? Don't think about that. Just push, 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 push. So I think I very much so had that mentality in me still for at least like the first year out of football. But then I, you know, really got real with myself, dude, as I kind of got to like year 2, year 3. And it's like, man, I got to like figure this out. I kind of got to get my mind right. I got to figure out what's next. Like, I don't want to just, you know, slip into something and go through the motions. I really want to find something that I'm passionate about. So I just know that transition for me was hard, bro. I would love to kind of hear from your standpoint about what that experience was like once football was gone for good. Like, you know, and you knew that, you know, okay, this chapter's closing, you know, what was that transition like for you?
So I'll get into the last team I was on. I ended up going to the Cowboys.
Yes.
I had a trial with them and got picked up right after I left Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the second day of training camp. We were out in Oxnard, California, and during a walkthrough before the practice, I was pass blocking the last rep of the walkthrough. I took a step and I heard a pop.
Oh my God.
And I was like, oh gosh, okay.
Injuries is like a whole nother thing to this conversation.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And so I just basically limped off the field. I was like, I don't know what's going on. I just know something down there popped.
Mm-hmm.
And I got checked out by the trainers. They're like, it's probably just a quad strain. Like, you'll be all right.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. They ended up cutting me because, you know, they said I'd be out for like 2 weeks and they didn't have time for that.
Right.
So went back home.
So cutthroat.
Yeah.
Going back to
crazy.
that. Yep. So cutthroat.
Literally there for like 5 days. It was insane. So I went back home, kept training, kept being hopeful. And I got a second opinion from a doctor up in Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, oh no, like your quad tendon is barely hanging on.
Damn.
Like it's about 95% gone. And like you need this like fixed. So then I like started looking up about like what the rehab process for that was like. And the numbers were even worse for like people of my size.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, well, you know, obviously I'm going to get the surgery. Got to try it out. So got the surgery, ended up rehabbing in Dallas for the full year. Then they cut me again after the year was over, which by that point I was a little numb to it. But it's just, you know, that's how the business goes.
Yeah.
And went back home, kept rehabbing for a full another year, trying to get back into it, and then realized, okay, I'm probably not going to be able to do this. Like I got to a point where I could live a normal life. I can squat, I can run, I can jump, but I just can't push 300-pound men anymore.
Yeah.
And
there's levels to that.
Right. Yeah.
Bro, I'll never forget when I first finished playing, and I was like, not first, it actually took me a while because you're so like mentally in it. And especially me being like, I mean, all of us were nut jobs, but like, especially being like a tackler, hitter, defensive guy. Like, bro, I was just a nutcase and I was almost like brainwashed into it. But bro, I remember like several years after I was done playing, like watching games, and I'm like, how did I used to do that, bro?
Yep.
like, cause like you said, there, you can run, you can jump. Like I can even do all those things now. We do that in our training and we still push, but like there's just another level, bro, of being like game ready. You're on the field and you are like imposing your will aggressively on another human being.
Yeah.
Like it's just a whole nother thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. It's like I do the same thing. I'll watch games. I'm like,
It's like, man,
we were out there doing that. Like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh. Also, there were times where I'm like definitely judging people out there too.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
oh, I could go out there
Right.
and do that.
uh-huh.
Literally, my body is like, no,
Yeah.
we're not going to go do that.
Yes.
But yeah, so ended up moving back to Columbus
Mhm.
after that. I spent a lot of time up in Cleveland with my mom, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I
Yeah.
had a business degree from Ohio State. I had a sport management graduate degree from Ohio State. And I was thinking maybe get into an athletic director position, something
Yeah.
along those lines in a school. But I just didn't really feel like I wanted to wait for that. Like
Yeah.
it takes a long time to work up that ladder.
It does.
And it wasn't something that I was thinking I wanted to do
Yeah.
at the time. So
Mhm.
my mom, she's an IT director for a school up in Cleveland.
Nice.
So I just started kind of like getting into what she's into.
Mhm.
And that led me into programming, software development.
Nice.
So I moved back to Columbus. I found a boot camp here that was doing a 14-week program to really learn it and get acclimated to it. So I did that. And then I started working in software development,
Nice.
which, is so different than
Yeah.
a sport where you're throwing yourself all over a field and
Mhm.
being aggressive and doing all these things to sitting behind a computer, just looking at a screen,
Yeah.
making things work. It was such an adjustment. I didn't really ever see my life going in
Yeah.
that direction,
100%, dude.
but that's where I found myself gravitating towards.
Mhm.
And I ended up getting a couple jobs. I'm now working at Chase as a
Nice.
software
Yeah.
developer.
I remember we talked about that.
Yeah. And it's different, it's another business, a very corporate business, so
Mhm.
different than the businesses I worked for before.
Yeah.
But, same kind of goals. Like
Yes.
they can get cutthroat there. Like,
Absolutely.
they,
Especially a place like Chase.
yeah.
You know?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's a lot of similarities
Yes.
that I've seen in my past, but also it's just different
Yeah.
for me day to day
Mhm.
in my life.
For sure, bro. And I was going to ask you, what do you feel like skills and attributes and even like intangibles that you learned through that football experience do you see kind of show up now in your professional career?
Yeah. I feel like in any career you get into, you have to grind.
Yeah.
You have to put in the work if you want to see the results. It doesn't matter what you're
What
doing.
industry? Yeah.
Yeah, you have to keep grinding or else you're going to get left behind.
Mm-hmm.
And with software development, I feel like that happens a lot because things change constantly.
You kind of have to be adaptable.
Right.
A lot of parallels.
Adaptability for sure. And, with AI booming right now too, it's changing our jobs a lot.
Yes.
So that adaptability is coming even more into play.
Mm-hmm.
So that for sure too. And also I feel like football taught me a lot about teamwork,
Yes.
in a sense too, of leaning on people and trusting that you can have people help you.
Yes.
And I have to do that in my job as well. I can't do every single thing.
Mhm.
That's why we do have teams. And it's crazy that you never necessarily get to pick your teammates.
Right.
In a lot
In
of
any
these
of these
jobs.
facets,
Yeah. So didn't get to in football, but they all turned out to be great.
Yeah.
Great people, great humans, and worked
Mhm.
well with them. And I now have a pretty good team at Chase as well.
Good.
So yeah. But yeah, there are a number of things that carry over from football that I still see show up constantly. And I'm like, okay, like this is a lot of life lessons that I've learned that I just have
Mhm.
to keep growing with and adapting with.
Dude, I love that. And that's really the mindset, man, is like taking those things that we learned and those skills and those intangible characteristics that we possess with attention to detail, with good teamwork, seeing the bigger picture, delaying gratification, all of these things. If we just pivot with them and apply them to something new, kind of like what you've done, you can have a lot of success. And it's just in a different avenue. And I think that that's really powerful, especially even like other former athletes to hear you say, and just anyone listening to know that, you know, with being adaptable and being willing to pivot. I mean, dude, you could find a whole new route that really is in alignment with you and what you enjoy to do. It's just taking those skills and those attributes you had in one arena and kind of applying them to a new one. And I feel like that's what makes us former athletes successful in a lot of these jobs and careers where, you know, we learned a lot of those intangibles really young. You know what I mean? So no, dude, I love that. And I think it's really cool that you're able to find something to basically funnel that focus into, and really grow and develop in. And I think another thing, just speaking of these transitions and going through being adaptable, I know for me, talking about, you know, transitioning even from college to we were saying from high school to college and then college to the NFL, like we go through these different transitions. And I think a big one for us is the training aspect where, you know, I know for me, I experienced a little lull period, you know, whenever I was finished up where, you know, you're just kind of burnt out, which I understand. Like a lot of us guys feel that, especially when you've played a sport at that level, you're just training all the time. It's so easy to like reach that level of burnout. But one thing I'm grateful for, man, is I always have had this, and it probably was developed through sport. I don't know. But it's just this like inner feeling where I can only like let myself go for so long, where in that moment, I really wasn't training much at all. It was like kind of the couple of years after I got done playing. And I was maybe working out like once a week, like twice a week. And for me, that was like basically doing nothing because I was somebody that worked out so much. And then there were some weeks I wouldn't do anything at all. And dude, I just remember having that kind of like gut feeling that I was just like, all right, dude, you got to get back in the gym. And it just like hit me. And that's when I really realized like it was a part of me. I'm like, this training, moving my body, like challenging myself physically, this is a literal part of who I am. Like I can't not do this. And like that's when I first really discovered that. And there will be times where, you know, shit gets hard and you're busy and you have to kind of ebb and flow. I almost think about it like dimming a light switch versus like switching it on and off. You don't want to lose it completely. You want to almost kind of dim that switch down a little bit when shit gets busy and life gets busy. But it was that period of time where I was just like, man, this is something very valuable to me, something that is part of me and something that I've got to tap back into. And that really motivated me to kind of get back in. And the irony, man, is like that whole journey of kind of losing myself during that time to like finding myself through training again is literally what like got me to this place I am today, like quitting my job and starting a business and meeting my wife who does the same thing, like, and similar. It's just crazy that it all kind of stemmed from that little decision of like, man, I have to get back into this. And it was just a whole trajectory of kind of personal development that took place thereafter. So I would just be curious to hear from your perspective, like, was there ever a period of time kind of post football where you were struggling with that a little bit or trying to find your footing again with training? I would love to just hear from your perspective what that was like.
Can we also just talk about like how amazing working out and training is?
Yes.
Like, I feel like you could be having the worst day ever, like going through so many things. And then if you get in the gym, it's just like, none of that matters. Like you get to step out of yourself for like an hour, however much time you have. And there's nothing like it, honestly. Like
so therapeutic.
And the crazy part is like how different you feel when you don't do it.
Yes.
So for my experience, I was exactly like you. I was so burnt out from training. At Ohio State, it's constant, like,
bro.
During the off season, 5 days a week, we are running as hard as we can. We are lifting like very heavy.
Yes.
Doing
often.
Yes. Doing everything, you know. And the other thing about it was always win or loser with Coach Meyer. So either you won that rep or you lost it. So that even ramped up the intensity even more. So that was all I knew at that point. I took that into the rest of my life thinking I have to either win this or I lose. And I didn't think there was a different way. So I did take some time off afterwards. I couldn't take off much though because of all the rehab I was doing.
Yes, true.
I had to keep my leg fresh and going. But it looked way different. It turned more into what can I do to help my leg continue to get better versus needing to try and run somebody over.
Yes.
You know, getting to an objective.
Yeah.
But I definitely was a little jaded towards working out.
Yeah. Same.
Because I didn't need to do that anymore. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
need to put 500 pounds on the bar and prove I could squat it or deadlift it, any of that. So I kind of tried to find other avenues. That's when I started trying a bunch of different things. I started doing some yoga, some Pilates, some of those things that weren't the traditional weightlifting,
Mm-hmm.
just to see, what it would be like. Because for a while I was like, I don't want to strength train. Like,
Yeah. I was the same way, dude.
I don't need that in my life. Like
Mhm.
I had
You're
enough of
literally,
that.
we really do get to that. Like you really are just burnt out.
Yeah.
Which is, we're going to go into that later, but I see why a lot of guys get to that point. But like my biggest thing is like, man, get it back. Like
Mhm.
just find a way, do something, man. Like just something. Cause like you said, man, it's so good for you and what it does for you mentally and physically. And now all the science coming out about longevity and what it can do for your cell health and mitochondria. Like, dude, it's just like, why would we not? You know what I mean? But we'll get into all that. But yeah, you keep going.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So another thing that happened at that time was COVID hit, right?
Yes.
And that really it changed so many.
It was a weird
things.
time, man.
Yeah. Like had to start getting creative with working out and how you were moving your body, which goes back to being able to adapt, right? Like
Yeah.
there are so many ways you can do it. You just have to put in time and actually do it.
Yes.
So I feel like I was trying my best, to keep it up. I bought like one of those rower machines. I had it in my
Nice.
garage, so I was finding ways around it. And another like pivotal point in my life also happened, like coming right out of COVID, is when I had my son. I wasn't with his mother at the time when it happened.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of like really ate at me, with how everything went down, how it happened.
Mm-hmm.
I was still not fully over all the rejection I had from sports, not being able to leave on my own terms, and just kind of, wanting I could get that back in some capacity.
Mm-hmm.
So there was just so much going on at that one time that I was kind of starting to break down a bit.
Yeah.
And what really got me back into it was I started taking care of my mental health. That was what I needed to do first.
Mm-hmm.
Started going to therapy. And then I leaned back into my faith. I found God for, I don't know what time that was at the time, but started talking to him more, building my relationship with him.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third aspect of it was getting back into working out. Like those three things, I feel like I compare them to like golf, right? Like in golf, you are driving, there's the driver, there are your iron shots, and then putting. So it's like three main aspects of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And in life, it feels like those are three big aspects for me: my faith, mental, and physical.
Yes, bro.
And I feel like a lot of times it's hard to get all three operating very efficiently at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have all those three firing, oh my gosh,
Powerful,
it's like
dude.
Game changer,
Mm-hmm.
eye opening. Like it's a feeling you want over and over again.
Yes.
It keeps you going. So at that point, moving past that really low I had to like rebuild myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I actually found strength training again. I found it can be productive.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't have to be something that was going to make me feel like crap all the time.
Yes.
And I didn't realize that. I didn't realize.
It's like we have this other way of doing this.
Yeah, I didn't realize you could strength train and not hate your life.
Yes.
So I was able to tap into all three of those things, but
Mm-hmm.
I had to be ready for it.
Yes.
Right? Like there were times in my life where I wasn't ready to face everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to grow through that, had to really look in the mirror, had to be vulnerable.
Yes.
And then I was able to step in to what was next.
Yes.
In those three areas.
Bro, that's so powerful because I do relate to that. In that moment where I was talking about in my journey how I was like trying to find it again, it was the same thing, bro. It came out of like a necessity, really, like where I was down and out, and it was partially like, man, I need this back physically. So I think that's what I kind of talked about earlier. But the other side of it I didn't mention was the mental health, man. Like that was during a time where I was struggling. Like I was going through it, and literally the same thing, like faith, physical health, mental health. And those last pieces were like the faith and the mental health for me, really. And it was around COVID, dude, like literally when I was going through all this. So it's really ironic that a lot of these things truly parallel, because that's really what motivated me the most out of anything was the mental health. That like this is like a lifeline to me, bro. Like whenever I'm doing this, like you said, you kind of have all those things connected, like having your relationship with God and being in prayer, like all of those things, like they really are simultaneous. I look at them as, and there was even times, because in the early stages where I'd have like the physical down, like I was getting that back, but then I had to work more on the other two. So it's a balance, man. And I think that that's what's so cool about what you said is, instead of us being like, hey, circumstantial, we're going to give up on these things because I have all this other stuff. It's like, we have learned the value of like, no, like those are the priority. Like those are the lifeline that then help you become and be a better dad, a better employer, colleague, leader, all of those other intangible characteristics. And I just wish like more people that maybe were struggling to get in the gym or struggling to get their fitness a part of their life understood the power of those things, because I think sometimes we can even slip into that kind of mode of operation where maybe we are having success in our career in these other areas, and we're letting the mental health and the physical health and faith and all that fall by the wayside. And then we almost like, oh, we don't need that. But it's like, imagine how much more powerful all of that would be if you did have that, you know what I mean, as a part of your life. So dude, I very much so relate to you on that. And I feel like, I think a lot of us former athletes kind of find our way back in that way, where like, you know, maybe some guys are fine with letting it go. That's why I'm so passionate about helping them not let it go, as you know, because it is just so powerful, man. So, dude, I love this. And I love that we're, you know, talking about the training component, and something I'd be so curious to ask you, because you mentioned it, where you've tried different things, you've done different training formats. I would love for you to talk through, and I'd love to just ask you in general, you know, after you finish playing football, you probably tried a lot of different training formats and modalities and workout structures and things like that before eventually working with me. And I would love to kind of hear from your perspective, what were some of those other experiences like versus maybe, you know, what we're doing now and what you found with me?
At the time, they were good. They were, you know, good ways for me to continue to move my body, stay active, just do, I don't want to say the bare minimum, but
do something.
Yeah, do something. It was good. And I thought the bouncing around aspect of it would keep me from feeling that burnout again that I felt tremendously before getting back into it. So I kind of just was trying to stay fresh on everything. Just wanted to keep everything fresh, not feel like I was doing too much of one thing. And then I'd be like, okay, well, if I can just continue to do that, I'll just do that the rest of my life, you know? But the other thing I noticed about those classes and those things were they treat it as a one size fits all for the most part. Like you don't really get a personalized experience from it. They might adjust here and there, but the difference with what you're doing is you are taking what we need and putting that into what we're doing. It's not an afterthought for you. For them, it's like, we'll build the program, and then if you need to adjust, we'll figure out ways around it. But for you, it's like, oh, something with your knees hurting today? Oh, well, we don't have to do any of that. We don't screw the program. Let's get you healthy. That's the part I like about it. It is so personalized, and there's so much more than just the training behind it. Like, obviously you're studying, like the why is something you always talk about. Like, and it's something I'm learning now too. It's like, why are we doing any of this? It's so important.
So important.
But yeah, the fact that you're doing all this, the fact that when I'm training for other things, trying to get my nutrition right, you're still there bouncing ideas off me, telling me like what you think would be best. I think it adds another layer that's really, you know, invaluable at that point.
Hell yeah, man. No, I appreciate that, dude. And I love that, where, you know, you have that mindset, man, of like, you are curious and you want to know that why. And I think it's so important, dude, because I mean, even when we were athletes, like we're just going so fast and there's so much going on. Like you don't get that necessary or necessarily you don't get that, hands-on, this is why we're doing what we're doing, or, this is serving this purpose for your body. And I know that that's something that I almost like wish I had as an athlete. So I take that kind of into what I do now, where I want to educate you guys. I don't want to just point and direct. I want to teach you guys why you're doing these things, because when you understand that why, it's so much more motivating, dude, to follow through. Like half of this stuff, with my fitness and with training, with nutrition, one of the biggest motivators for my consistency and following through consistently is because I know exactly why I'm doing it and the purpose that it's serving as it relates to my short-term and long-term goals. So when you can have that strong why behind what you're doing, it just, I think and believe it adds a whole nother layer to the motivation, the consistency, the discipline behind it. Because you kind of are connecting those dots. So, dude, I would love to maybe talk through, because there's some similarities, there's some differences, but what does your training kind of look like now versus when you were a D1 athlete or NFL athlete?
So now obviously we're not, like I said, we're not benching 405.
Yeah.
At this point, we're not squatting 500. Like that part is past. And I'm grateful that I got to push my body in that way. It was amazing to see what it could do and how it wouldn't break. Like so much. I literally, in my life, I've benched 500 pounds on the bar.
It's crazy.
And no pec damage, like nothing wrong with my shoulders. So just the body, it amazes me so much how it can adjust so well to what you're doing to it. But, now I have different goals.
Yes.
I have different things I want to do, and it doesn't require me to be able to move that much weight. Now I'm thinking I want to move for the rest of my life. Like that is the long-term goal. Shorter term goal, I feel like as an NFL or as an athlete, as a football player, as a offensive lineman, you get put in a box and a lot of people tell you what you can and can't do. And I don't love that. So I just signed up for a half marathon. I was like, all these people are telling me it's crazy. My knees are going to give out, all this stuff. I don't want to believe it. So I chose not to. And I chose to try it out.
Yeah. I'm telling you, this is the mindset I love, dude.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's great and honestly a little motivating when I tell people I'm doing something like, "Oh, you're crazy. Why are you doing that?" And I'm not trying to push it to the extreme. Like I'm not going to be an ultra marathon runner. Like that's not in my cards. And I know that. But I want to see what my body can do. I want to get the most out of it while I still can with being smart, within reason. So I'm just so excited for all this because it's never been a part of my life before. Like I've never ran before.
Yeah, we never really ran like this.
Right. Yeah. Before my half marathon training, the most I ran at one time was 2 miles. I thought that was my limit.
Yeah.
I thought I couldn't go any further.
Yep.
But now, just progressing and pushing myself and seeing what I can do, it's so eye-opening. And I wish, my hope is to keep talking about it and seeing if we can get out of these boxes.
Yes.
Like just because something's hard doesn't mean we can't do it.
Yes,
like,
brother.
You just got to train. Your body will adjust. It will keep going. It's not going to fail you. But I feel like even myself initially, I was like, no way I'm running that much. That it doesn't it's not fun. We'll be honest.
Yeah.
Like there are levels to it and it's difficult, but it's just something so empowering, doing hard things and pushing. That's the other athlete in me. I want a goal to push towards and I want to keep improving.
Yes.
I don't want to get complacent. So that's kind of where those goals are coming from.
Dude, I love it, man. And to your point about inspiring more to not be boxed in, bro, that's literally so much of what I'm preaching. And you know that from our conversations, but dude, I bring that same mindset into fitness because you see it all the time, man. It's like, I've literally been saying this, Darryl, from year 1 till now, year 6, bro, where I'm like, you do not have to do one thing. You do not have to just be a runner. You don't have to be just a bodybuilder. You don't have to be just a power lifter or a CrossFitter. And what ends up happening, man, is like these boxes limit us. Like what I've said this whole time, man, for the last 6 years is like, Well, if you go all in down one of those avenues, you're inevitably going to be limited in these others. If I just run, my strength, my muscle, my small tissue, my soft tissue is going to start to take a hit. I'm going to start losing muscle. I'm going to start losing strength. Probably my connective tissue and my joint health is probably going to start to get deteriorated a little bit. So we need those other things. You know what I mean? Yep. And then, hey, if we're just lifting, well, guess what? Then our aerobic fitness is taking a hit. Our cardiovascular heart health is taking a hit. So it's like, why not? And this is what I've been preaching is like, why not take a little bit from each thing and build an awesome program for the individual? And like, that's been my whole philosophy with this training process is like, don't put yourself in a box. You can do all of these things. You can do yoga, Pilates, all this stuff, but we just got to go about it smart, like you were saying. So dude, I really just, I believe in that fully myself. And I also really relate to what you said about just seeing the avenue of progress. And I think that this is something that I've like, bro, what I do ironically is so psychological, and I see it in like having conversations with guys. Like I just have like this sample size, bro, in my brain of like all these many conversations I've had about this stuff. And something that I see is a lot of guys that I speak to, dude, and you might be surprised to hear this, they don't see that avenue of like progression. Like you said it so confidently where you're like, dude, I know that if I just train for it, I'll get there. But there's this weird drop off in mindset that I see where because someone can't do something right now, they truly believe they can't ever do it. And I think that that's something that I'm literally trying to break with training the right way. Cause you said it earlier, like a lot of training environments, and just to be straight up, like most people are doing workouts where it's like, it's changing all the time. Every week we're doing something different. Every session we're doing something different. Well, you can't really have an avenue of progression when things are changing all of the time. So the irony is like the common fitness approach is the exact thing that's creating this limited mindset in people where they don't see an avenue of progression and they think that they're stuck in their current capabilities. When if you were in a progressively overloaded training system and program like we do, you would actually unlock the perspective that, oh, wait, I may not be able to do that right now, but if I just train for it, let the body adapt, progressively overload my training, I can absolutely do that thing. So I'd be so curious to hear from you, like, where did you develop that? Was it like through the rehab process? Did you always kind of have that mindset? Do you feel like training in a progressive way, like unlock that mindset for you where you see the progression, maybe the half marathon prep? I would love to just hear maybe from your perspective, if you can pinpoint it, like where did you develop that mindset and where was it kind of created from?
Well, real quick, two things with what you just said. You mentioned for the individual, like tailoring things for like each person. There.
Yes.
Because we're all different,
We're
right?
all different, bro. How you do a squat is going to be biomechanically slightly different than, Tommy in our group. Like there's little things that are going to be different for all of you guys, and you got to respect that.
Yes, right. And it has to come from you, the person doing it. I feel like at times, social media is so great, but also it can be detrimental. Like when I started my running journey, I was comparing myself to all these other people out here
doing like 30 miles a week and shit. Yeah.
And running 7-minute miles, like killing it, which is amazing. But
correct.
That's not me. Like I've started, I think I've been running for like 2 years, 3 years. Like we're going to have different capabilities. So I have to just, temper my expectations. And I feel like that's the hard part for people to realize.
Especially us, like competitive guys.
Yeah. And looking at a goal, like if you have a half marathon in mind, thinking about running 13 miles, that's completely like overwhelming. It can be, right? But, when you're in it, you just have to take it literally 1 mile at a time. You have to get from mile 1 to mile 2. Can't think about the whole thing.
Yes.
And I feel like that's the part that limits so many people is they get overwhelmed thinking about the entire thing.
Yes.
When we have to break things into bite sizes where we can train and work up to that. But I feel like so many people don't necessarily see that. They just see the end product, what we have to get to, but that's not where you start. Like,
correct.
You have time. Same thing with like the progressive training. Like we don't start at level 8. You start at 1, see what you can do, progress, get to level 2, and keep going from there.
Yes.
And then the second thing you mentioned about I can't. I've adopted like not letting my son say that.
Yes, I love that.
anytime he says he can't,
You're like,
I'm
nope.
like, okay, nope. First of all, we started getting into push-ups.
Yes.
So we do 5 push-ups
I love
every
that.
single time he does it.
Uh-huh.
And it's so cool to see, like, I'm like getting him into all the fitness stuff without even realizing it, because he's starting to do that on his own.
Yes.
If he says I can't, he'll say, oh, hold on, I got to do push-ups. Like,
Yep.
and it's just like,
It's awesome, dude.
yeah, I don't want him to feel limited in any way.
No.
I can't yet is so different than I can't.
Yes.
Because I feel like so many people have that mindset that just because right now they can't do something, they don't think it's going to happen for them. But that's not true. We can change. We can adapt. So I like that I can't yet. He doesn't say that necessarily much yet, but I'll give him that option if he needs to.
Yes.
But none of this I can't stuff.
No,
Like,
dude, no. I love that, man.
We aren't doing that.
Yeah. And bro, it's got to be like partially our journeys too, because I feel like even when we reflected back on our football experiences, we both talk about that adaptability. So I think it's a culmination of things. I just really want more guys to hear that, and not just from me, but from someone like yourself, where it's like, dude, this isn't the end of the game for you. Like, bro, I can't tell you, Darryl, how many times I talk to guys in their 30s, guys in their 40s, like, my knees are done. I just can't do that. Oh, I could never do that. It's like, bro, give yourself a chance, please. Like, if you just train the right way, you'd be shocked at how you can rebuild your body, man. And both of us have done that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you've done it through a rehabilitation process. And now you're doing it, in a strength training format and just in your normal training. And I think that was so beneficial for me to experience too, bro. Cause like when I was done, like my body was beat up, bro. So that's why I like try to talk about my own journey, because dude, I was mangled when I was done playing football. And if you would have asked me back then and I had that mindset, I would have been like, and if I would have had that mindset, like I could have been stuck there forever. But dude, now I'm literally doing these things we're talking about. We're both running half marathons, running HYROXs, competing in endurance competitions, which like we have no background in endurance. So it's like we are literally training our bodies to do these things. And it's the most fulfilling thing in the world, bro.
Absolutely.
And then when you go through it, you then unlock an even bigger mindset of like, okay, well, if I could do that, I can do anything I want, really, within reason, like we talked about. But if I just train for it, if I let my body adapt and I build it up, like, bro, that's why I'm obsessed with training. Cause like when you do training the right way and you are repeating things and progressing things, you can literally become more capable of physical feats that you could not previously do. So like if we are training the right way, the whole goal is to get your body to a place that it can handle these things, and not only handle them, but like feel really good. Like something I hate, dude, is like when you hear people, after half marathons or marathons or HYROX, like talk about how their body is just like mangled. And I'm like, it shouldn't be that way, bro. Like if we train the right way, you should actually not only like get through that and feel good, but, also feel like you kill it. You know what I mean? And there's levels to that, like we talked about. And you and I talked about that even about your half, where like there's certain other variables that can get really tricky, like the fueling, the cramping, the recovery, dude, and the stress regulation.
Outside stress.
All those like factors can like influence performance. So that's like a whole nother thing. But like just purely the training aspect of getting your body prepared for something. Like if we do it right, man, like we should feel really great. You know what I mean? And I just wish more guys knew that.
Yeah. And it's that first part, right? Like getting started.
Yeah.
Like some people just don't want to, because they limit themselves. They don't believe they can. And then they just don't.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty about it. Like we can change. Like anyone, it's never too late to change. While you're still breathing, you can change.
Dude.
Look at your parents. Your parents
I was just going to say.
killing it. Yeah, exactly. There's always time. You
Always,
just have
bro.
to start.
Like, dude, my dad, I don't know if you knew this, dude. And I think I put it on the story, but like my dad wasn't even an athlete, bro. Like he literally didn't even play sports. My mom was the athlete. So I kind of got like my athleticism, we joke, from her. But dude, like my dad, like never played sports. And I have him in there, dude, at almost 70 years old. And he could barely squat without like helping himself up. And knees would hurt, hips would hurt. Dude, he's jumping. Like at almost 70 years old. That does not happen by accident. Like it's because we did what we said, where slowly we started him out at stage 1. And I think that's the art of training, dude, that I'm obsessed with, is like, you have to meet people where they're at. And like, that's what I did with my parents. I met them where they were at, wherever that was. Let's tailor it to where they're at, their starting point, like I did with you. And then we'll build from that. But it's almost like when and you gave a really good example of this earlier, where it's like, we get so hell bent on like leading with the program, where it's like, you have to fit this program. Like we build, that's why I, whenever I promote my online program, sometimes I'm like, there's all these apps out there. Like you can get a fucking app out there, bro. Like, let me help you get this individualized to you so you can have an amazing starting point and then build from that point. You know what I mean? But we live in this culture that's so like program heavy, where it's like, I have to fit myself into the program versus the other way around. And I think that's where people feel that discouragement, where if you just had someone like myself that could meet you where you're at and help you build out of that and progress out of that, anything's possible, dude. And it's what I've done with my parents, like you said, where, they're pushing 70 years old and he could barely squat and get up and down without pain. And it's like, now he's not only pain free, but he's like jumping, he's lifting like heavy weights again, like relative to his, strength. So it's just like, that is what training should do. But it's like, it's delivered in so many diluted ways that like people don't even, if you've never experienced it, like you don't even know that that's possible. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And also going back to those, three main pillars, physical, spiritual, and mental. If one of those are off, like we're talking a lot, it sounds about mental, like a lot of this stuff starts in our minds where we believe we can't do it. So then we don't even try. But, shoot, I had a point.
It's okay. But dude, you're right. It really does start with the mindset.
Yeah.
I mean, I see it. Like, what did I say earlier, dude? I'm like, this is also psychological. It really is. And I see it, dude. And like, I have many conversations about this stuff, and it's just so wild. And that's why you saw me like light up early on when we had these conversations, because dude, I'm telling you, like, this is rare. Like, not many guys in your position think the way that you think. And I've seen it firsthand. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's also what I was going to say before. I definitely wasn't always like this. Like,
correct.
After football, I didn't know what was up. I had no idea what direction I wanted to go.
Yeah.
But I think it speaks a lot when you can meet yourself where you're at. You can actually find yourself, because that's where it all starts. You aren't going to start anywhere different. Like, you have to be realistic with what you have going on, get everything aligned, and then get to pushing. And that's what I felt like I was able to do. I felt like once I got those three things going, and then also my family, like my son is such a huge motivator for me. Like, it probably kind of also stems back to my childhood. I ended up losing my dad when I was 10.
Oh, wow.
He had lupus, and it was a long battle with it. So, kind of grew up a lot without a father. And I feel like that's also some,
huge
motivation for me, because I want to be around forever. I don't want him ever to experience that. And that was no fault my dad's. Like, he just had an unfortunate hand. But I can do what I can control to stay here as long as I can for him. And also give him all those tools that he knows. Hey, I can do what I want. I don't have to limit myself in any facet. Like, if I want to go run for president, I know that's, what people
but for real,
say, but
go do it, dude.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Worst case scenario, you learn something. You know what I mean? I've always tried to have that mentality, man, where it's like, it's never a failure. If anything, you're just going to learn. You know what I mean?
That's another huge thing I've learned, that like our failures teach us lessons, and they can also help us grow so much more than any of the successes can that we talked about. But
absolutely,
it's just like turning these negatives into like shining moments in our lives. Like, I thought when I was going to have my son, like, I thought that was such a low point.
Yeah. And
but
now it's like,
I'm realizing that was like what I needed. That was what was going to push me to be this best version of myself. Like, it just, I had to flip that in my mind,
Dude, that's huge, man. And I love that. And it's so true that like some of these things that we think is a bad thing or like a negative thing that's happening to us, it's like could be the best thing that, in the grand scheme of things, the best thing that could have happened to us.
For sure.
And it sounds like that was that way even for you and these experiences. So no, dude, I think that's so powerful. And what a motivator to like just be such a powerful father figure for your son too. And I know that that's a huge motivator for you. So dude, I love that. And I love that you're already like instilling, those things into his life at an early young age. Cause he's just, I know, going to grow up to be an incredible leader, just knowing those things. So Yeah, man. I mean, this is great. And I really did want to kind of bring it to where you're at kind of now and what you're training for now. I was going to ask you, what are you kind of training for and focused on at this current stage of your life? I know we talked about it a little bit, but I'd love to dig into that.
Yeah. So right now I'm focused on enjoying this like endurance training things while I can. Just ran the Cap City half marathon a couple weeks ago. Had some bumps, but we made it through. So
Yes.
love that. I'm doing another HYROX in a couple weeks in June in New York, and I love having these things to look forward to.
Yes,
like
dude, me too.
they're all hard, and they're really just like the training for it sucks at times.
It does.
But like getting there, doing it, like meeting all the people you get to meet, it's
So
all so rewarding. Yeah. And also it's helped me so much with my confidence, like getting to the point where I can do these things, get myself out of that box that I was in for so long. Like I feel like I can do anything, to your point. And it translates to different areas of my life. Like with my job, I feel like I don't have to stay limited there. I can expand. I can do more. And it's kind of, yes, but like training has been such a huge motivator for all of that. Like getting me out of my own head and really pursuing what I want in life and telling myself I can do this.
No, I love it, dude. And maybe talk real quick, because we do such a great job like with our training, with being well-rounded. Like we're doing it all. Like you're doing your endurance training, you're doing your half marathon prep, your HYROX prep on top of our strength work, hypertrophy, muscle focus work, soft tissue mobility. So maybe talk through that. Like how powerful has it been, especially because I know that it's very easy to get isolated, like we just talked about. And there's a lot of people who maybe go gung-ho all in, like all they're doing is HYROX, or all they're doing is like half marathons, for example. Maybe speak to that, the benefit of that well-roundedness.
So that is like the key, right? Like you said earlier, you don't want to just be really good at running because all your strength is going to take a hit. Same thing with any of those aspects. If you're lifting too much, your cardio is not going to be there. So I just think being well-rounded is giving me that flexibility that I wanted. It's providing me with avenues where I don't feel like I'm going to burn out on any one thing. I feel like I can adjust. If I feel like I need some more running, I can just run more and then do a little less strength training. But
it doesn't have to be one or the other.
Yeah, no, and I realize how important both of those are because at any given moment, you don't want to just lose any of it.
Yes.
You always want to be ready in case something pops up where you want to do a race, where you want to do some kind of competition. And being able to stay on top of both of those with the limited amount of time we have in our schedules.
True.
Has really showed me like the importance of being able to just make time for what is important to you in life. So I make time, sometimes it changes, and it might change when I'm doing the workouts, those kind of things.
Yeah.
But it's just important to do it, get it, make sure you are still moving your body, and then let stress, let the schedule, let all of that come, because you're not going to, that's something out of your control sometimes.
Yes.
But still something in your control is making sure you're doing these things to keep your body fresh.
Yes. And bro, it speaks exactly to us being really intentional too about how we structure your training. Like I think that was something that opened your eyes up when we talked the first time, where you were like, man, I don't need to spend, 6-7 days working out. I can get everything I need in 4 to 5 days. You know what I mean? And I think it just speaks volumes to what you were saying about time. Like that's why I'm, especially with your guys' our group training and just some of these training formats and training sessions that I write and put together and program, like, bro, it's an art. It's kind of like coding, you know what I mean? Like software engineering and coding. And it's like being like a chef at a restaurant. Like you've got all these options of things that you can put in, but the art is knowing what to remove and what to layer together to get the most out of it. And that's something that I'm like so passionate about, bro. And you experience it, we get so much done in 1 hour. Like it's unbelievable, but we don't dilute intensity or quality. We keep those at like the utmost importance, but it's just the way that we have things layered. I really want to help you guys get the absolute most with the least amount of input, Yeah. Because you guys are busy.
For sure. Everyone's busy.
Yeah.
To your point. Yeah. And can I tell you, like, my favorite part so far has been the small things, the little
Mhm.
tweaks you make to any exercise we're doing. And also like the warm-up exercises, like that is where it all starts, like for actually helping your body stay healthy and being able to progress, is those little tiny movements that you do
Mhm.
to get it ready for the bigger movements. And it's something that I know is really important, but like just coming here and being reminded, okay, yes, I need to get my hip openers in. I need to do my windshields. Like
Mhm.
it makes a world of difference. And then I think about like, oh, well, I didn't do that today. That's why I don't feel as good, you know? So just that little attention to detail that is always provided here has been really good.
Hell yeah, man. No, I appreciate that, Darryl, because that is something I take a lot of pride in, and I'm passionate about, because those details are everything, man, and it really can make or break the training experience. And I think isolating that stuff, making it a priority, making it the first thing we do every session, it's like it truly is what keeps you guys operating at a great level and feeling great, man. Like I really, the way I've almost like coined this term recently, dude, and I haven't really like used it much, but the way I like to think about our training is it's really performance longevity. Like we're training for performance, but we're never losing that focus of longevity. Like we're never going to do things in the present moment for performance that are going to negate our longevity and the longevity of the health of our body. It's like we're going to keep that the utmost, focused, important aspect of it, but we're still going to build performance along the way. Because I think in a lot of ways it can get into that all or nothing, where it's like, we're either like lifting heavy all the time, performance, high level, all of that, or you're like lifting light, all the time, you know what I mean? And doing like only like functional stuff. But you can see it's like we marry both, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we keep you guys well-rounded. And again, you're capable of it all. And I think that that's such an underrated training aspect, is like being able to go into the gym and be like, I can literally do everything. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, at least that's how I feel. I'm like, bro, you want me to go do this barbell stuff? Like, cool, I can do it. Like, you want me to go do this like deep range of motion, bodybuilding? Cool, I can do it. Like, you want me to go run mileage? I can do it. You want me to do a short, high intensity conditioning piece? I can do it. So it's like, bro, I think that's the best way to train, in my opinion. But yeah, man, I think a few more questions I wanted to ask you just about the like half marathon and HYROX, and you talked about it a little bit there. But what was that experience like for you preparing for that first half marathon and HYROX, and what did that process really teach you? And I think, we spoke a lot about that, but what did it really kind of teach you about yourself and your fitness journey and all of that?
For the half marathon, like I said before that, I had only ran 2 miles. Like that was the furthest.
Yeah.
So then getting into the half marathon training, I ran a 5K, I ran 4 miles. I just kept progressing, kind of like we've talked about. Like you can't just jump into something and expect to be able to do like the highest level.
Yes.
You have to take your time. You have to get there as you go along.
Yes.
So it taught me a lot. That was also something that really humbled me, is running in general. Like I always kept thinking I'm not good at it, but I'm out there doing it. I'm out there getting better. And the first time I was training, it might not necessarily been the smartest way of doing it. I was going out there and just running as fast as I could to get the mileage done. But now I'm learning more about like zone 2 and speed training and doing things smarter to get more out of my body. Because to my other point, we already talked about, I don't want to always be 100% trying to kill myself.
Yes.
That's what happened in college.
Yeah.
Don't want to do that anymore.
Yep.
So learning that about running recently has been like, wow, okay, this is now something I see that I can continue to keep doing, and I'm not going to feel burnt out from it.
Yes.
So the other like just part about it is I was doing a lot of the runs alone in the morning, like before work sometimes, like getting up at 5 a.m. and just going and running in the dark. And that will honestly, like, you have to do that like for yourself. Like no one's going to wake up for you. No one's going to push you. There's no like cheering squad for you while you're doing it. You have to want to do all these things to get to your goals. And I knew that was going to be the best time for me to do it. So I had to put in the time. And I think that's just the other aspect of it, is if it is a goal you have, you already know what you have to do to get there.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to make it happen.
Yes.
And I feel like I've heard so much in my life lately that it isn't easy, but it is simple.
Mm-hmm.
And that like translates to
It's so
literally
real.
everything. Like I know what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Did I say that right, by the way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's simple, but it isn't easy. Yeah.
Simple, but yeah. Because, we know where we need to go.
Mm-hmm.
Just actually getting ourselves to do it and getting there. That's
Yep.
the hard part. But as soon as you do it, it opens all the doors for you.
Mm-hmm. And you see what's possible, man.
Yeah.
And I think, bro, it leads perfectly into my last question for you. And I think this would be a great closing point. But what would you say, to a former athlete or just an everyday person who's in their 30s, 40s, or beyond, and who is convinced that their body is broken, it's failing them, and this is just how it's going to be for the rest of their life? What would you tell that person?
Well, yeah, we've already talked about how it's never too late to change.
Yes.
That is one thing for sure that I'll tell everyone. I tell some of my friends, like, you're not too late. You're on your own schedule. You don't have to compare yourself to others.
Mm-mm.
You are just doing the best you can. You're giving what you have that day, because that changes too.
Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, you just have to start somewhere, and starting is the first part. And also recently, there was a kid. I was in a small group at my church, and a kid walked in, like just pretty freshly out of college,
Mm-hmm.
and he was a football player. He was a running back, and afterwards, he was talking to me, and he was like, "So, like, how do you deal with like life after football, like not being in the spotlight? All the crowd's gone, like it's just you now."
Mm-hmm.
And I was just really thinking in that moment of everything that I had been through and everything that got me to the point I was now, and it just came back to like how you see yourself. You no longer have people that are going to be motivating you and pushing you to do things. You no longer have a crowd cheering you on, but you got to keep going. And for me, feeling good and confident about myself and who I am as a person, who God says I am, that's what really pushes me.
Yes.
And makes me remember, like, I can do hard things and I can get through it all. And kind of just getting around a great community of people.
Yes.
Like, that's the other thing I like about everyone that does the personal training at Relentless. Like, they get in and they work. It's not like social hour. It's not, we're going to dally around. Like, people are working. Yes.
Yeah.
So you definitely have to get a good community. It's so hard when you isolate yourself.
It is,
and try to do things on your own. So yes, being sure about who you are as a person, getting around good people, and just wanting to, just knowing you can improve. It's not too late.
Yes, bro.
Those are like the huge things I would tell people.
Hell yeah. Dude, I love it, man. Dude, thank you for joining us, man, on the pod. This was awesome, dude. And I feel like your mindset, especially having everybody hear all of these things from someone else other than just me, I think is really powerful, man, because it really is never too late. And we have the opportunity on any given day to change direction and change our course of life trajectory for the better in a lot of ways, whether it's our, like you were saying, mental health, physical health, faith, whatever avenue, business, career, football, into something different. Like, we can always redirect, man, and it's never too late. And don't go about it alone. I think like that's another big one that you said there that really resonated with me is, finding that community, finding those people that you can grow with, that push you, that support you, that love you. All of those things are so important, man. So, dude, I appreciate you coming on, man. This was amazing. Your story is awesome. Like, I love just using this as an opportunity to just talk through where you've been at, man, and what you've experienced and the mindset during those times. So really appreciate you, Darryl. This was awesome.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. It was a great experience for sure. And I love every conversation we have.
Yes.
It's that growing part. We're always wanting to get better and wanting to improve and wanting to know why we're doing things.
Yes.
And each time I get to talk to you, I feel like I learn a little bit more. So I really appreciate you having me.
Thank you, dude.
Great.
Appreciate that, Darryl.